Four men at a bar after work, glasses down, the day behind them, and you're one of them. One of them makes a joke at another man's expense, and the whole table goes up. You laugh too, right on cue, and somewhere behind your ribs, something goes tight. Not because you thought the joke was cruel, it's that you recognize the laugh itself. It isn't really yours. It's the laugh you learned a long time ago, to belong. And for about half a second, you realize you've been doing that for 30 years, performing a version of yourself that doesn't quite exist, and never once stopping to check. That half second is the entire subject of this video, and I guess you buried it before you finished your drink. Carl Jung had a name for the thing you just stepped over. He called it the shadow. And he didn't mean your darkness the way people use that word now. He meant the parts of you that you trained yourself not to see. Not your capacity for harm, your capacity for everything else. The feelings you filed as weakness, the wants you filed as selfish, the honest reactions you learned to hold down because they didn't suit the man you were meant to become. By about 30, most men have built an entire personality out of what they are not. And it works. That's the problem. It genuinely works. So here's what I'm going to show you. The deal a boy makes, why it was clever, and what it quietly charges your body every month after. Then why one specific man at your work makes your jaw clench. And the honest part, what it actually costs to undo, which isn't what you'd expect. None of this is about becoming soft, and none of it is about crying in a circle of strangers. It's about getting the whole of yourself back. Go back a long way. You're 12, and you're doing what every 12-year-old does, which is watching. Your father, your teachers, the older boys. You're working out the rules. You learn quickly what gets rewarded. Being steady, being useful, being good at things, never appearing to need very much from anyone. And you learn faster, much faster, what gets punished. Not being sad, being seen being sad. So your young brain does the only sensible thing available to it. It makes a deal, quietly, without telling you, and without ever writing it down. And I want to be careful here because you've probably been told some version of, you're damaged. You weren't. It was the best deal available, and he took it. The parts of you that fit the template stay out in the room. The parts that don't go behind a door, and the door gets shut. It got you through school. It got you liked. It made you easy to be around. Nobody ever mentioned that it was meant to be temporary, so you kept it. And after enough years, you stopped being able to remember what you put in there. Here's the part men don't get told. Every time you swallow something, your body registers it. You notice something that bothers you, and you say nothing. You want to say no, and you say yes. You want to be asked properly, and you say you're fine. Your nervous system logs the gap between what you felt and what you did. Your body knows you lied. It doesn't hold a grudge about it. It just doesn't forget. It catalogues them. 30 years of very small betrayals, filed away, one on top of the other. And 30 years of that isn't a mood. It's a baseline. Your bloods come back fine. You're still tired. You call it stress. You call it normal. You call it being a man. What you're actually paying for is the distance between the man in the room and the man doing the feeling. That gap has a running cost, and you've been paying it monthly since you were 12. It shows up late, and it shows up quietly. The marriage goes polite. The kids stop bringing you things. You realize you've never once had a real conversation with your closest friend. You're successful and empty. You're fit and numb. You're fine. You're fine. You're fine. And then one day you're not. And you have no words for it because you spent 30 years training yourself not to need any. And if that landed, tap the like button. It pushes this to the next man who thinks he's just tired. We appreciate it, and so will he. Now the useful part, and the uncomfortable one. There is a man at your work you cannot stand. He hasn't done anything to you. That's the strange bit. You can't build a case against him. He just puts your teeth on edge. Every time he opens his mouth, something in you goes hard. And you've never once asked yourself why a man who has done nothing to you gets that reaction. Most of the time, not always, but most of the time, you are not reacting to him. You're reacting to something you put behind that door. Jung called this projection, and it's simpler than it sounds. You hate in him exactly what you forbade in yourself. The man who admits he was wrong irritates you because you built your whole standing on never being wrong. The man who leaves on time irritates you because you made the job into who you are. And the man who says out loud that he's struggling irritates you most of all because that's the door you shut hardest, and he's standing there with it wide open. You're not spotting his flaw, you're looking at your own severed limb and calling it his problem. Which means a lot of men spend their whole lives in a low, steady temper at their own reflection. Here's where I have to be straight with you, because most videos on this won't be. Doing this does not make you happier, not at first. It makes you more real, and reality is harder work than the costume. You lose the simplicity, you can't judge as quickly, you can't perform as easily. You become more complicated to be. And you have to hold two true things at the same time, that you're capable and unsure, strong and tired, independent and in need of people. A man in a costume gets certainty. A man who's whole gets complexity. Most men take the certainty because it's cheaper, and that's exactly where most of them stop. But the man who does this isn't run from the basement anymore. He stops getting ambushed by his own reactions, because he knows what's in the room. And he doesn't wake up at 50 wondering who he's actually been all this time. So, 3 things you can actually do this week, and none of them need a therapist, a retreat, or a conversation with your father. First, name him. The man who irritates you, and the precise quality that does it. Then write the quality down, not the man. Second, let that quality out once, and keep it small enough that it costs you nothing. If it's uncertainty, say, "I don't know yet," to one person, not a confession, one sentence, and then get on with your day. Third, say the contradictory thing out loud to somebody. "I'm good at this, and I'm tired of it." Both halves in one sentence. You will want to delete the second half on the way out of your mouth. Don't. The question that starts all of this isn't, "What's wrong with me?" Men have been asking themselves that one for years, and it never opens anything. The question is, what have I refused to know about myself? And that one opens something every single time. Because the shadow was never the problem. It was only ever the room you refused to open. The denial was the problem. And the part of you that's been behind that door for 30 years already knows the way back. If one line in this was you, or a man you know who's been fine for 30 years, leave one honest comment below. Somebody is going to read it tonight and realize he isn't the only one doing the laugh. There's more like this on the channel, and the quiz in the description will tell you which of the 5 minds you're working with. I'll see you in the next one.